Take two. Okay, day 2. Second attempt. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Getting Sauced Season 2. Today I have a very special guest, my very own mother. Mom, introduce yourself.
My name's Karen, and we're visiting here from Calgary, and I was told we were doing a fun family activity this weekend. So this is what we're doing.
So I thought we would pick a sauce that was had a bit of history for us, which is the first sauce I ever tried to make, coming up in life in a family where it was all boys, and you did all of the cooking, but you didn't love it.
No.
So your own family history of cooking, like grandma was not an avant-garde chef of any means.
No, she was very basic, and that's the way she'd been raised too. It's just the way it was.
Wartime rationing.
Exactly.
Cooking. Okay.
Yeah.
So the one cookbook that you did have that caught my eye.
I had a few.
You had a few, but this was the one. Is The Trusty Joy of Cooking.
Barney, I just found out that Dr. Lecter's signed copy of The Joy of Cooking sold to a private collector for $16,000.
Whew. First published in 1931. And as a teenager, I was like, well, if I'm going to cook something, I'm going to cook something that sounds fun. And I flipped through this book. I don't recall my exact process, but there was one that was basically wine sauce, Burgundian wine sauce, or sauce Meurette. French immersion pays off. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, a quick background on this sauce. When I first tried to cook it, we opened up the recipe book. We read through Oeufs Meurette, which is eggs in Meurette sauce, and it's basically a description that says poach eggs in red wine sauce, or poached eggs in red wine sauce.
Yeah.
We read that. This was the first thing I'd ever really cooked out of a recipe book, and I had no idea what a poached egg really was. And that wasn't really something you were terribly familiar with doing either.
No, I had to look up how to do a poached egg.
Yeah. So in our genius
Yes.
and naivete, we concluded that we should be poaching eggs in red wine, essentially. So through a comical misreading of that recipe, we ended up with purple eggs on toast.
Which kind of, when it was presented on the plate, the green eggs and ham from Dr. Seuss kind of went through my head.
Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I Am. I do not like green eggs and ham.
And as I recall, neither my father nor my brother would deign to eat it. They went off and grilled hot dogs on the barbecue.
Yeah, this is true. They kind of looked at it and went, no, thank you.
But the good news is I know how to make sauce now, and I know how to read. So we're going to do this again, but properly. I will not besmirch the name of The Joy of Cooking. It actually had the right recipe in here, and we will follow it. It's a pretty straightforward one, actually. And this is a great kind of tutorial sauce because it's got a lot of ingredients and processes that are very common to almost all sauces. Yep. Basically, we're going to start with a stock, we're going to start with a mirepoix, which is the ratio of onion, celery, and carrots that are kind of the base vegetables for almost all French sauce and cooking. So it's not called that in The Joy of Cooking, but that is what it is. So we'll sweat a mirepoix. We will add in our stock, the foundation of all good sauce, and some wine. And then, per the name of the channel, we will get to drink the rest of the wine because it's not all required for this. And then we will do the final step, which is the butter flour mix, and we'll have more to say about that. But each 3 of those stages are each components of classic French cuisine. So you can rearrange them. You can do each of these 3 steps with different techniques and compounds, and you'll be set. So I guess let's get started. Now, you don't generally cook a lot with stock,
No.
do you?
No. I know you try.
I try.
You
Every
try.
Christmas,
Yes,
I try.
Yes, you do.
So this is basically an attempt to demonstrate the value of it and to show how easy it is to cook with stock.
Okay.
This is our mise en place.
Yeah.
It's everything we're going to need to make this. It's nothing crazy.
No.
Not intimidating.
Can I do it in an hour or less? That's kind of my criteria for cooking.
Let's find out.
Which is.
So, yeah, actually, what can you do ahead of time? I would argue, this is a sauce that you can do if you have a habit of prepping some basic stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
Stock, obviously, you can make and freeze, so you should be able to get this pretty quickly and just have it on hand. For instance, if you have a son that comes home every Christmas and makes an awful lot of stock and puts it in your freezer for you, you already got that.
Yeah.
The mirepoix, so chopped up celery, carrot, and onion. I'm going to get some B-roll of that. That's basically you can buy that frozen actually in finer grocery stores. So you just go to the frozen section and grab it. That is totally a-okay. And then the flour butter mixture. Again, everyone has flour and butter, and we're using double O flour. So if you're worried that you'll never have delicious sauce again because of gluten intolerance, try that. It's going to be better for you.
Gluten means bad shit, man, and I'm not eating it.
But again, that is such a common ingredient in sauce making that many people recommend. Just take 1-to-1 flour and butter, knead it together, throw it in the fridge, and just have it on hand ready to go. So, you know, all 3 stages of this, you can absolutely have in advance. So the first thing we're going to need is a pot.
Voila.
Voila. It's almost magic. So we're going to do this on the induction top again with the adapter, simply because turning around with my back to you and working on the stovetop is no one's idea of a good time. So let's heat that up. We're going to melt some butter in here, and once it's all liquid, we'll throw in the mirepoix, get that softened. That'll take 10 minutes maybe. So that's 10 out of the hour,
Okay.
you've budgeted. Softening the mirepoix. We'll see how that goes. The next stages after the mirepoix is softened is that we add the liquids and we're simmering. So there's 2 stages, I guess 3 stages here. Stage 1, soften the mirepoix. Stage 2, simmer the mirepoix with the liquid to do the infusion. Stage 3, filter that out and reduce it to something we can make sauce out of. Simmering is when stuff is in the liquid. Boiling is when you're reducing as rapidly as possible. That's my pro tip on reduction and stock making in general. You're not looking to boil your stock. Never do that. Keep it just below boiling. Like simmering is what you want. Yeah, we'll go from there.
Okay.
So just roll it around. Obviously, we're trying to.
Keep to my 1 hour limit.
Yeah, you want to make a sauce in an hour. Actually, that's a good point. So sauces are intimidating. We're going to cover how to make them and work in with the rest of your food. A lot of what we're doing here, though, doesn't require constant attention. Like it's boiling. You need to see it so that it doesn't go too far. But it doesn't require, you can do other things while that's going. So you could have meat going on or vegetables, whatever other prep you've got to do.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will make a Gantt chart in some sort of effects software and display it over here. But
Technologic.
sauce prep happens in parallel with other things. Protein usually, like the meat, only takes a few minutes, and that's done right at the end and then rests. So
Yeah.
there's a nice overlap with sauce making there, especially if you're doing like a sauce pan, or pan sauce, sorry. Okay, you wanna throw in the mirepoix?
And onion.
And then, in addition to the base mirepoix, a little garlic.
Oh, it's over there. A little? Like the whole thing? Or?
Yeah, the
this?
whole of that.
I
But I
see.
mean, compared to the other vegetables, that's little.
Okay. Okay. So I'm
Okay,
just gonna
give it a stir.
Yep. Oops.
Okay, so this step takes about 10 minutes. We're going until the vegetables are soft. So the onions will become translucent. The carrots will also become a little less matte looking.
Yeah. And the celery kind of gets that little bit of a
Glisten.
to it too, yeah.
So keep in mind, when we make a stock, we're basically doing these same vegetables in a beef broth, or the broth of your choosing. This is like doubling down. Like, do it again, do it again, do it again. And a lot of French sauces are like that. Like there's our demi-glaces where you take your stock, you do this part again, then you reduce it, and then you do it again, and you reduce it again, and you end up with this explosion of flavor. Every time you reduce, though, you're taking like some of the brighter flavors out.
Yeah.
So you add that back in by repeating this step again in the next step. So
Okay, so because basically you've done that once in order to create that stock.
yeah,
So we're doing it again in order to.
amplifying it and
Good.
bringing back some of the
Bringing
flavor that would have been lost in the
Okay.
process.
Sounds good.
Now, normally when we're doing any kind of sauce, my go-to technique is to compare recipes between a bunch of different books. Oddly enough, I couldn't find a Meurette sauce in the Escoffier, which is like the canonical Bible of French cuisine. So that's softening. I know we said 10 minutes, but
We still got a ways to go for 10 minutes.
I mean, we're just not going to brown them. So
No. Yeah.
before they start to brown. While that's happening, then I'm going to measure out the required quantity. Now the recipe, we're halving the recipe, but it does call for 2 cups of red wine. It's a Burgundy sauce. We're using Burgundy wine in this case, actual Burgundy. If you don't want to buy Burgundy, which I totally understand because it's outrageously expensive in North America, you can just get a Pinot. Burgundy is home to Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. So those are the 2 Burgundian heavyweights. You don't drink red,
No, I don't. But
so I bought you a Chardonnay.
thank you. Yeah, I'm one of those people that red wine and I just don't get along. Mind you, it took me several years of my youth to figure that out.
Is that like people think they're allergic to tequila?
No, I don't think so. I would go out with my friends. We'd go over Friday night social type of thing, and I'd be drinking the red wine, and every day I'd end up with a massive migraine afterwards and could never put the 2 and 2 together. It took a few years to figure out the relationship, and that's when I switched to white.
And you went out and partied drinking white, and that never
Drinking
happened?
white, and I was fine. Trust me. Would your own mother lie to you?
It's not about lying to me. Of course, the joy of cooking with wine is that you have leftover wine. And if you do this right, the rule of picking wine for cooking is that you pick a wine that you'd be willing to drink with the meal, or at worst, by yourself in the kitchen as you cook. So, getting sauced. Now I know Chardonnay is not your favorite,
No,
typically,
Typically.
but we'll see. To let me know how you like it. Cheers.
Okay.
It's okay. As far as Chardonnays go, that's a seal of approval. Okay, I'd say we're ready to go here. That looks about right.
It's looking pretty good.
Okay, so we'll do our cup of wine. Into which we will add a cup of quick beef broth. Or sorry, beef stock.
Beef stock.
Nice and gelatinous though.
Yeah.
So we're all in there and it's meant to simmer for 30 minutes. So we'll let that simmer and then we'll turn down the power.
Okay.
Now so that's 10 minutes plus 30, so we're at 40 mark.
Yeah. However, simmering, you don't have to
Watch
babysit
it.
it.
Yeah, stirring occasionally.
Occasionally, yeah.
So we'll probably do a time jump here.
It's just a jump to the left.
Okay, and now we're going to put in the herbs. We brought it up to a simmer, so we're good there.
Yeah.
We've got parsley, thyme, fresh from the garden.
Smells good.
Smells great. And the ever mysterious bay leaf. I promise this does something, so we're just gonna plop it in there. Okay, so I was not always convinced that bay leaves did anything. And I would recommend anyone do this. If you find a lot of bay leaves, just take them and boil them in water for a minute and just breathe it in.
Why we do it, backhand? You really fixes us up.
It was like eucalyptus-y almost. It was incredible, very menthol-y. It definitely had an odor, and I can see why we only put a little bit in. It lightens the sauce. Oh yeah. So it's already pretty evident what this is going to taste like. You can kind of
Yeah.
waft that off and smell it.
Yep. I'm getting it full in the face here.
Raising mother.
Want to rephrase that?
Okay. I'm certainly getting the steam coming my way and dwelling, basking in the smell. So yes,
We'll go with that.
okay.
So I wouldn't start cooking anything until the reduction,
Okay.
generally, because the reduction will still take a minute.
Yeah.
Protein, vegetables, depending. Like if you're doing roasted vegetables and that's like leave it and set it in the oven.
Yeah.
Totally fine to do while you're doing this.
Okay.
Protein cooks pretty quickly depending on what you're cooking.
This is true. Yeah.
Especially if you're doing it French style, where you're basically just searing it in a pan or on a grill. If you're doing like a roast, obviously that's a different thing, but roasts come with their own free sauce, so you don't really need to worry about that.
Okay.
So we are at...
We are at 1 minute.
Okay. So What we're going to do is strain this out into a smaller pot and bring it up to boil. We're doing that because it's convenient and I don't want to like strain it into a bowl and pour it back into this pot. But typically during most sauce making, as you're reducing, you go from pot to pot to pot and they keep getting smaller. We're going to go to my smallest pot, which is not the smallest pot I want. But, you know, my birthday's coming up.
Yes, this is true.
Because I would love a Mauviel copper-clad tiny little saucier pot, but we'll get there. For now, though, we'll step down one level and then we will just filter through. You don't have to do anything fancy here, just a fine mesh sieve will do. You don't need cheesecloth. We're not making a purified stock, which is like where you would get out the very fancy super fine mesh,
Okay.
which we have, but we're not using for this.
Okay.
Okay, so you ready?
Yep. Let me see.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so pot, filter, go nuts. And now we will turn it up to 11. Spinal Tap reference, we're only going to 5.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so the recipe, a word about reduction here. The recipe book says reduce it to about 1 cup or a half cup on our scaled down version, about 15 minutes.
Yep.
I have no idea if this is going to take 15 minutes. Don't really depend on that though. It's not about the volume and it's not about the time. It's about when you stick a spoon in there and you pull it out, when you flip over to the back and you run your finger through it, does the viscosity indicate that the sauce is done? Has nothing to do with the volume it gets to or with the time it spends boiling. You go until it's viscous. That's the rule. So we'll let that pick up. And while it's doing that, we should talk a bit about the butter and flour. So the American cookbooks will just say put butter and flour in. But this is such a common technique that there's a word for it. So in my lovely copy of Ratio, which I would recommend everyone gets, this gets its whole little own chapter section called beurre manière, which is the ratio of beurre manière is 1 part butter to 1 part flour. You can prepare this in advance, just knead the flour into the butter. You can do this weeks ahead of time and just keep it in there or in the freezer for like a month. And you'll just have little balls of this stuff. And basically when you have like a pan sauce of some kind or any kind of sauce you're working on, to finish the sauce off to give it that final thickened state, you throw one of these balls in and whisk it in at the end.
Okay.
It's very common in a lot of sauces to mount with butter at the end, which is to say you take it off the heat and you stir in some butter and that's the end. With a little bit of flour, the two of them together really thicken it up though,
Yep.
and that's what you want. The alternative is a cornstarch slurry with water, but I kind of hate cornstarch. I don't know if it's because of big corn or because every time I touch the stuff I feel like I'm working with like a DuPont chemical. I don't know, it's staticky, it gets everywhere, it smells weird.
And yet it's what I use most of the time.
You also use margarine.
Yes, I use butter a lot more now. Okay, so we're boiling?
We're boiling,
Okay, so 15 minutes?
according
According
to
to
the
the
book.
book. Okay, so we're just going to see if that works.
Yeah, again, do not go by the book
No.
on this. While that's happening, let's make up our butter flour beurre manière. Ugh, should not have left the butter behind the heat vent of the induction plate.
Well, it's going to mix it really easy.
You tell me.
Oh, thanks. Okay. You're right, it would be a little better if it was a little more solid, I think, yeah. However, it's
Okay, so
getting there.
We've got a rolling boil going though,
Yeah.
so that's great. Normally, again, I would do this under the fan. Not an option with the filming angles here, but how's that looking?
Well, it's
It's incorporated.
incorporated, yeah.
Now, normally, again, chilled butter or like colder butter than this
Yeah.
would firm that up a little. This is fine for what we're doing because we're about to use it, but room temperature butter is maybe a little easier to, if you want to wash that,
Yep.
a little easier to work with, and then you can just keep that in the fridge afterwards. Okay, so spoons for testing. Quick word about spoon testing. In a restaurant, you would not be allowed to like lick a spoon and then use it again later, even if you clean it and all the rest of that. No one's got time for that. If you're cooking at home for your family, I get people might get weirded out. Don't do this for your friends, but like, I think you're probably fine to reuse the spoon. We're not going to do that. We've got enough spoons. We're going to exhibit proper spoon etiquette. But the reason I raise this is there's like a really interesting thing that can happen. I'll post the link below. I think it was one of Hélène's kitchen recipes. She's a YouTube foodie.
Okay.
She discovered that there are enzymes in your mouth and in your saliva that will get transferred to a sauce and break it down early and cause it to become runny, depending on the sauce. Like, it only happens in certain circumstances.
Okay.
So like there is a chemical reason not to do that,
Oh no. Saliva.
which I thought was fascinating. Assuming you don't want that. If you actually wanted to intentionally do that, then like you would somehow have to transfer your spit enzymes into the food. I know, but there are other cultures that do that as part of food preparation, where you would chew, masticate, and spit out the. No, I know, but it helps break it down. Again, the viscosity of a sauce like this comes entirely from the bone broth base. So whatever bones you use that had the collagen, that's what's going to make this thick. And we'll add the butter and flour to help push it over the edge, but the viscosity we're testing for is really a way of directly measuring how concentrated the proteins from the animal bone reduction are. I know everyone seems to think sauce is like some fatty, terrible thing to put on your food, but it's like chock full of nutrients. It's got all that collagen in it. There's a little butter, but I mean, what isn't full of butter? And you know, butter's not the end of the world. As far as French dishes go, there's far less butter in this than there is in most things.
So sometimes when I'm cooking a roast, and it's just a little bit, well, on topic, off topic, like I'll have the roast in there, which has bone in it and beef and all the rest of it, and I'll put carrots and potatoes around it and cook it all at the same time.
Yes.
So is that kind of a shortcut version of
A broth?
sort of what we're doing?
Yeah, kind of. It's its own little thing.
Because I do add water so that
There's liquid there. You're
There's
making
liquid there, yeah.
Yeah, and you're saving that liquid
and I'm
after.
saving
right?
that liquid in order to help make the gravy, yeah.
Gravy is a sauce.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the
Okay.
same idea.
Okay.
Are you using tomato?
No.
You should try it.
Tomato?
Tomato. Little tomato paste.
And add it afterwards? Or
No, you can-
while it's cooking?
Well, it's cooking.
Oh, okay. Give it a
You
shot.
can do red wine in there too,
Yeah, okay. I don't usually keep red wine in the house because I can't drink it.
which is how this trouble all started.
I know I read somewhere where you started the roast at a really high temperature
Get
for
the
about,
sear.
for about 20 minutes and then turned it down to, and it was kept it lovely and moist inside because you seared the juices in.
There's.
Okay, you disagree with this. I can tell by the look.
I'm not saying that's true or false.
Okay.
I'm saying there are competing claims.
Okay.
You got to be really careful about discussions around like it locks the fruit juices in or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
It often like you want a char on your meat because the Maillard reaction, like it tastes great. Everyone loves that.
Yeah.
So like there's such a thing as a reverse seared steak where you cook the thing in the oven the whole way through to get like exactly the temperature you wanted.
And then flip
And
it
then-
on the barbecue?
Yeah, or
Okay, whatever.
on a cast iron or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like finish it off really quick
Yeah.
on a hot, like sear it on each side, and then
Yeah.
you've got those flavors and you got the perfect cook. And that's honestly like I don't notice a quality or juiciness difference between doing it that way and the other way. So like locking in the juice isn't, I think, quite. I'm willing to investigate because I have firsthand experience that tells me that it might not be exactly what's going on.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Now, we're not going to be doing this with meat that rests, but typically, like you could use a Burgundian style sauce like this on like poultry or steak or beef, like whatever kind of thing you're making. The fun thing about the reduction step is typically you want to be doing this like close to the end while your meat is resting, as you like whisk in the butter, and you're getting ready for the final steps. So like right now we would have meat cooking over there. We would check that while this is going down.
Okay.
And that like 5-minute rest period for the meat that is classical gives you the chance to finish your sauce and get everything ready, and then you plate and you pour your sauce and you're good. So with resting meat, you cook to under the desired final temp.
Yep.
You take it off and you trust that in the 5 minutes it'll finish.
Yes.
To finish something from cooking all the way through, if you've already hit the temp while it's cooking, you just start cutting it really quick and it'll cool off and stay the temp that you left it. Both are valid. You're going to get a more even cook though if you do the second method, where you cook it all the way up and then you stop it.
Okay.
So there's some mixed research on that. Neither is especially great at like locking the juices in or anything.
But would that not cool it off faster?
Well, they're both going to net the same kind of temperature. Like you're going to serve the second one immediately.
Oh, okay.
You're not resting
You're
it.
not resting it. Okay, gotcha.
So I prefer the cook and let rest method, mostly because it gives me time to plate and get the sauce ready.
Yeah.
If your time skills are excellent and you don't need that time, play around with that and go ahead and cook all the way through. If you don't want to waste a spoon, again, just rock it back and forth. You can see the bottom of the pan, and if it's coating on that, that's also like a hint.
Indication, yeah.
Yeah. How's your wine doing?
It's doing very well, thank you.
Safety note, drinking while cooking can be dangerous. You can metabolize about a glass of wine per hour. So if this does take you an hour, and you're drinking all the way through, have one glass of wine, and you'll be totally fine with your dinner guests by the end of the...
Okay, yeah, okay.
You've just made your job slightly easier. So the stirring is mostly to get this stuff off the sides.
Yeah.
You don't really need to worry about much else. But it's getting there. We're now down to about here. So I'd say we've reduced it by down to a quarter,
Well,
maybe less.
no, I think we've reduced it by half.
Half.
Half, yeah. I don't know about...
I mean, we had this great idea for dipstick. I really think a sauce dipstick is the way to go. Some kind of a chopstick or something you could stick in. The handle of a wooden spoon, perhaps? I don't know.
Some way to measure. Save all your chopsticks.
We don't order chopsticks. I have a set of ebony chopsticks.
Of course you do, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so half a glass? Slightly less than 2 drinks.
We're a group bound by the creed that humanity is better and more noble after very nearly 2 drinks than at any other time.
Oh!
Oh, yay.
And how many minutes are we at?
Well, we're at 1:35, so it's just under, I think.
Just under. Okay, we're ahead of schedule. This is still
I
within your
think-
realm of
yeah,
I
what-
might do this if we could do it in under an hour.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a couple minutes under, but that's okay. Alrighty, so...
Take it.
Take this off?
Not yet. Turn it off. Okay, so that's pretty high volume of sauce.
Yep. And is this when we add in the butter now?
It is. So I'm gonna get you a whisk, and you're going to pour that in, and also a spatula from Spatula City.
There's just one place to go for all your spatula needs. Spatula City! Spatula City!
I'll let you be my sous chef.
How the tables have turned. So this was boiling hot. Now we have mounted with butter. You mount with butter after the heat is off. That prevents it from cooking, which you don't want. And it will thicken up as it cools. So how you feeling about that? It's looking pretty good.
Yeah. Looks like a rich chocolate sauce is what it looks like. Like creamy chocolate. How do we get...
Okay, now, pro tip. You will often not have the sauce ready at the precise moment that you're plating and need the sauce. So in fine dining restaurants, what they'll often do is put it in something called a bain-marie, Mary's bath.
Okay.
It is named after Mary, the Jewess. That is her historical name. She was an alchemist from Alexandria back in the day, considered one of the earliest contributors to alchemical science. But basically, it's a hot water bath, so it's like a double boiler. That will keep the sauce warm while you get ready with the rest of your stuff. If you don't have a bain-marie and have no intention of making one, and I do not blame you, just get a thermos. IKEA sells these ones, and they're great. And I think they're even in the kitchen section, so clearly other people have thought of this. You basically pour your hot sauce in here, cap it with a lid, and then get to cooking the rest of your meal. Remember, we're making Oeufs Meurette ultimately, so I'm gonna poach some eggs and fry some toast, and we will serve this on top. I'm nervous about this. You gotta let the camera see it.
Okay. There we go. How's that for effect?
Well, it's not slow-mo, but we'll see.
Okay.
Did you want the spatula?
Yes, I do. Please. Hang on. Yep.
Capped. And now let's, I don't know, make a little egg snack, and we'll see what this dish is supposed to look like. Okay, so we have whipped up some quick poached eggs. Normally, I would garnish this with roasted red peppers or fried red peppers and caramelized shallots. Thank you. But time's a wasting. So let's get this done. So we are now going to, I'm gonna. Oh no.
Ooh, look at that.
Beefy, winey. So, and as you can see, it's not purple eggs poached in wine with no toast.
No, it looks a little more appetizing.
Yeah, the toast really brings some structure to this dish, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I will post the recipe in the comments, but I hope everyone gives it a shot. It's tasty. Thanks for coming.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Cheers.
Anytime. And cheers.